Dubai, the most modern city in the third world, was created by one man, His Highness Sheikh Rashid Al Maktoum, the builder of Dubai. His Highness Sheikh Rashid Al Maktoum succeeded his father, Sheikh Saeed bin Maktoum, in 1958. Sheikh Rashid had assisted his father in government for many years and knew well what he wanted for his people. Through the bitter years of the Second World War, hunger and poverty had stalked the streets of Dubai. Sheikh Rashid wanted to banish this memory with the permanent prosperity of a modern economy. None of the 20,000 people living in Dubai in 1958 could have imagined the extent of their new ruler's vision. Dubawi are born traders. Their reputation as Gulf traders has been chronicled for hundreds of years. But Sheikh Rashid's vision was for Dubai to become more than just a local trading port, but to become a world trading port. Dubai had known prosperity in the past. Before the Japanese invented the cultured pearl in the 1930s, Dubai had been a major source of pearls for the world. In 1907, there were over 400 pearl dhows with 6,000 divers and crew operating out of Dubai Creek. Dubai has always been a city of sailors, fishermen and men who traded by the sea, and men who built the boats that carried that trade. When Sheikh Rashid came to power, he knew that Dubai's future depended on these ancient skills. The sea is and always was the lifeblood of Dubai. Its abundance sustained the city-state in an arid, barren land. For thousands of years, the men of Dubai have dived for pearls, the pearls of the rich gardens of the Gulf warm seas. Through the last century, and for the first 30 years of this, the demands of rich ladies in Europe far outstripped the supply. Dubai flourished. For 2 seasons, totaling nearly 6 months every year, the 400 dhows of Dubai's pearl fleets would comb the pearl banks of the Gulf, Sri Lanka, Socotra, and even the Red Sea. To support the pearl fleet and market its treasure, there grew up a complex and sophisticated business community. Boats had to be financed and supplied at sea, and, most important, Dubai traders bought the pearls and travelled to India, to Egypt, to the Orient. They learnt the languages of commerce, and they brought gold and trading goods back to Dubai. Pearls, the hard-won treasure of the sea, made Dubai a city of merchants. But the city itself, the pearl fleets, and even the traders could not have existed without the safe haven of Dubai's creek. The shallow shores and the sudden shamals that drive unwary captains and their cargoes onto the beaches have always made the Gulf difficult for traders and sailors. But in the 1950s, Dubai's very existence seemed doomed. The creek was silting up. Growing coral reefs had altered the offshore currents. Silt carried from south to north along Dubai's beaches was slowly closing the mouth of the creek. In 1955, it was no longer deep enough for the larger dhows to enter. Even cargo lighters had to wait to come in at high tide. From the beginning, Sheikh Rashid's motto was bring the big ships in. Many experts told him to build jetties out to the deep water and forget the creek. But the scheme Sheikh Rashid liked was to use the power of the daily tide to keep the creek free of silt. Bringing the big ships in was going to cost £500,000. Sheikh Rashid needed to increase trade to finance the improvements to the city. With the formation of the municipality, roads were being built for the first time. Inland, vast reserves of sweet water were discovered deep underground. Sheikh Rashid ordered that pipelines should bring fresh water into the city. For the sick and injured, there was the new Maktoum Hospital. Sheikh Rashid ordered the dredging of the creek to begin. To pay for it, he sold creek bonds to local merchants and negotiated a generous loan from Kuwait. The first part of the scheme was to enable the cargo lighters to enter the creek at any tide. No longer would they be driven ashore while waiting for high tide. The second part of the scheme would enable steel-hulled coasters of up to 500 tons to enter the creek. This would make Dubai the major port of the southern Gulf and the natural trading and service centre for the oil boom that everyone knew was coming. The scheme was to deepen and narrow the entrance of the creek and to deepen it inland too, so that at high tide there would be enough water within the creek to scour out the silt as it flowed out with the falling tide. As a byproduct of the dredging project, there would be millions of tons of rock, coral and silt from the creek bed. This was to be used for the second part of Sheikh Rashid's grand plan, to reclaim from the sea the land he needed to build a modern city. Some of the new land was to sell for 1,000 times the cost of its reclamation. Sheikh Rashid's business sense became legendary. Dredging and reclamation scheme was to take years for the full scale of Sheikh Rashid's vision to become reality, a city fit for the next century. No outsider, no foreigner, no expatriate worker can sense the importance of the creek and marine trade to the people of Dubai. From father to son and on to his son, the tradition of trading is in the very blood of Dubai.